I'd like to call to order the council meeting for Tuesday, October 3rd, 2017. If we could all stand for a moment of silence for the tragedy that we have in Las Vegas and due to the hurricanes that have occurred. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Secretary, may I please have roll call?
Olivia Brady, Valerie Scott Cooper, Hakeem Jones, Heather Lewis, Sue Ann Gardner, Derek Perry, Sonia Sanders.
Here. Would a member of council like to make a motion to approve the workshop minutes from September 19th of 2017? All in favor? Meeting minutes carry. Earlier this evening, we had an executive session pertaining to real estate. Vice President Perry, do we have any announcements this evening?
Yes. On October the 4th, Wednesday, October the 4th, from 8:30 to 10:30 a.m. at Dunkin' Donuts on Main Street, we have Coffee with a Cop. There will be a special council meeting to discuss economic development projects, which will be on Thursday, October 5th, starting at 6:30 p.m. in the council conference room. Municipal council may take action on items that are presented. October 14th, we will have the Norristown Car Show, Music Fest. The car show starts at 10 a.m. The Music Fest starts at 12 p.m. There will be a beer garden that opens at 1 p.m. All events will be on Main Street. The car show will be located from Barbados to DeKalb Street, and the Music Fest will be located from DeKalb to Arch Street. October 19th, from 2:30 to 6 p.m., we have Keep America Beautiful affiliation meeting. It's coming to Norristown to kick off the formation of Keep America Beautiful. There will be an overview of the organization for the general public, followed by training for the Keep America Beautiful Advisory Board. The public is all welcome to attend. We have the Norristown Recreation and Redemption 1010 Church Halloween Spooktacular. That's on Saturday, October 28th from 1 to 3 p.m. at the Elmwood Park Band Shell. We have arts and crafts, pumpkin decorating, and a costume contest for kids up to age 13. And then we have a birthday person today. E.J. Lewis, happy birthday to you today. Are there any other announcements? Anyone had any other announcements? Councilman Jones.
Good evening. This Saturday is the homecoming for Norristown area high school. So all Norristown alumni, including myself, there will be a football game this Saturday at 1 p.m. They'll be taking on Methacton. So feel free to come out and support the high school football program and pay homage to your alumni.
Thank you, Vice President Perry. Madam Secretary, do we have any public comments this evening?
Yes, Perry Thompson.
It's Percy Thompson. Thanks.
Percy, sorry.
Let's go. I'm back again for because I heard 2 weeks ago about my property getting fixed in my house. My roof still has not been done. It's supposed to be on record that I'm supposed to get in contact. Somebody's supposed to get in contact with me. Nobody has got in contact with me yet. So what I have done on my own, I got in touch with my insurance company and explained it to who's supposed to be doing my work, and this guy named Kevin. They said they know this guy Kevin, and Kevin ain't gonna do nothing unless I'm paying Kevin myself. Kevin came out of the house for 2 weeks. He didn't come to my house. He came to the property 2 weeks. Did not knock on my door telling me nothing. I had to come and see him. And he's telling me, well, we still got you. We ain't worried about it. We forgot, da, 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 da. 2 weeks later, I'm still waiting I come to the council meeting, supposed to give me a call. I didn't get a call. I come back here, I leave a message. I still didn't get a call from nobody. So what I'm doing now is getting my own person who fixed my roof, and I'd like to bill somebody for it.
So, Mr. Thompson, I apologize for your inconvenience. My understanding is during the last meeting you appeared before us, it was understood that you would be speaking with someone from council, and during the interim, you would be speaking with someone from your insurance company.
Yes, ma'am.
And I believe we were told that at that time that council wouldn't be liable, but it would ultimately come down between you and the insurance company. Mr. Jones, if you could speak to that, if I have spoken out of line or not, but that's where I recall where we last left off at.
Yes, Madam President. Again, the municipality's responsibility in the situation was to step in because there was a life and death health safety issue on the table as far as the property was concerned. We made sure that the property got secured. A contractor was brought in to take care of that. That contractor damaged Mr. Thompson's property, and that contractor also had his own insurance responsible for taking care of any damages. We facilitated a couple of times at least conversations with that contractor and Mr. Thompson to get satisfaction from Mr. Thompson. And the last discussion we had at the last council meeting, we advised that if that satisfaction doesn't come between the contractor and Mr. Thompson has every right then to take action against the contractor, since it is a contractor who made damage and the contractor who has the insurance against the work that he did on the property. I think Mr. Simonson might have had some additional conversations since that council meeting, if I'm right.
How I left it last was with the contractor. I informed him that Mr. Thompson was willing and had some problems with his property, and that he did need to contact him. That's how I left it with the contractor.
So if we understand then at this time, then Mr. Thompson will be dealing with the contractor going forward.
I can't deal with the contract. My insurance company said that he is not going to do nothing for me. He said my insurance company said they have dealt with this guy Kevin before.
Councilman Jones.
My question is, was this a municipality issued contractor from our municipality?
No, we don't have contractors. We had to call a contractor out to come and stabilize the property. Once we did that, the contractor was responsible for stabilizing the property, and the contractor has his own insurance to handle the work that he does. So it has no affiliation with the municipality. We have made efforts to facilitate conversations between Mr. Thompson and the contractor. We made multiple attempts to talk to the contractor. At this point, Mr. Thompson has a right to seek civil action against the contractor if he didn't perform the work that he was supposed to have performed on the property. At most, all we are observers between the two parties.
So it was our responsibility to make sure the area was safe after the problem. We contacted a specific contractor to come to the aid who messed up his property. So we were the segue to the contractor to take care of his property. So I would suggest that we either do not work with this contractor in the future or help Mr. Thompson address this issue. But now we're putting the bulk of the problem on the homeowner, where all he did was allow the contractor to come to his house.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. Certainly, we if the contractor is not compliant, but unless Mr. Thompson actually takes an action with the contractor, I mean, right now, we're not involved in the property because we have no ownership rights in the property whatsoever. So we have no standing to do anything with the property. We're willing to help situation safe for the public health. And we identified a contractor, and I agree that the contractor is not being agreeable and compliant, then we don't need to work with the contractor again. But if there's an actual issue between the work that Mr. Thompson wants done and his agreement whether that work is done or not, we don't have standing on his property to do anything about it. If he takes some action and we need to be brought in as witnesses, we'll be brought in as witnesses to talk about what our role was, what we observed and what we saw, but we can't advocate on his property.
Councilman Burr?
What was the issue that happened with this location next to the property?
The property located at 203 East Spruce Street. East Wood Street had the roof collapse during a high wind, heavy rainstorm. So the building was essentially, it fell in on itself. So in order for us to secure the property, the demolition had to take place to take the entire property down.
Okay. Who do we know who the owner is of that property?
We do.
Okay. Are we using community champions? Is that part of the bank loan? Or?
No, this was an occupied dwelling. They occupied half of the dwelling, and the other half was vacant. And when the storm happened, luckily no one was in there at the time, but the roof collapsed in, and it was a shared structure, and collapsed in the middle, and caused both sides to come down.
So when we're using contractors, what was our process in regards to using contractors to do this kind of work?
Well, this was an extenuating circumstance because it was an emergency. So what we had to do was solicit an open bid, a curbside bid to as many contractors as we could. We had 2 responses. The contractor that we used was the lower of the 2 bids, so we went with that one. They were licensed, insured, and Norristown contracting.
When we go through something like this, I know we do have an option not to hire that person again. Is that correct?
I believe so, yes.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Burr.
So what am I supposed to do now? That's what I'm here for. I need to know what I need to do. Should I just get the guy who I got somebody came into the house to give me an estimate on how much this is going to cost to get this roof fixed. I get the stuff fixed. Who's going to pay for it? That's what I'm asking.
Mr. Solicitor, at this time, I would ask for you to name.
And it's been since August, and here it is October now. I'm still waiting.
Sir, I'll be happy to talk to you after this meeting along with Mr. Jones and talk about this, but as stated previously by Mr. Jones, it is not our responsibility at this point.
But y'all hired the contractor. Kick me out of my house for a week plus, so y'all can tell me I come on back home and there's a roof in your roof and it can't get fixed by nobody. Kind of upsetting about that. I mean, I'm pretty sure if it happened to you, you'd be upset too.
Sir, I definitely understand what you're saying. Again, this problem is not going to be solved in this tonight. I'll be happy to talk to you along with Mr. Jones after the meeting.
I got somewhere else to be after this meeting. After I finish talking, I have another meeting I got to go to. I mean, I don't even get a phone call saying, hey, we did this, we did that. Nobody here has contacted me. You know where I live, you have my phone number. Nobody has contacted me, period, since the day it happened. I got to keep coming up here and leave messages, and I don't get nothing. I don't get no answers.
Again, sir, I apologize for how you feel, but again, Mr. Jones and I will talk to you after the meeting.
I'm out. Thanks.
Madam Secretary, do we have any other public comments this evening?
James Waters.
James Waters, 913 Hamilton Street. Good afternoon, Council. Or excuse me, good evening, Council. I'd like to continue to compliment council on the work that I'm seeing done. I see that up the Hamilton Street, they're putting in these sidewalk handicap ramps. I imagine that's from a federal grant or something, because I don't think they had any ramps before. Is that a federal grant, Mr. Jones?
That's actually liquid fuels through our liquid fuels council's capital payment program.
Well, it's nice to see that. It was also nice to see Elmwood Park. There's been some erosion control put in there, some nice river stones in the erosion routes that were there from the clogged storm drains. That looks very nice. One of the things that I am worried about, though, is the riverfront plantings, Riverfront Park plantings that were done the other day. We reviewed those about a week ago, and they look like they're dying. We took some pictures and contacted Audubon, try to find out what happened, whether it was soil was incompatible or whatever. But I know that was a grant that we were beautifying the park with. It didn't work out. So I'd like to comment that kind of like looking into that, if you know what I mean. My heart is with Riverfront Park. I think you all know that. The other thing that I had an opportunity to do some investigation on was the issue with flooding, since we had the flood gauges turned on. I've been concerned about the Norristown sewer plant flood damage not being reimbursed by FEMA. I spoke to Mr. Thompson briefly. I had revisited this from 2008, I believe, which was after the 2006 flood. And I believe there's quite a bit of money that have been tied up that is the responsibility of the federal government because of their misoperation of the flood control structure called Blue Marsh. I've had concerns with this for quite some time, and the last two floods with no name have been able to bring this issue to Senator Rafferty. He held 2 hearings and brought all the responsible people that had to do with public safety into 2 meetings and discussed the issues that we had documented. Blue Marsh was releasing during storms, and this last flood that we had was the 3rd worst flood in the history. And according to news broadcasts and some of my calculations for the USGS gauges that are now open in Norristown, is that Blue Marsh caused that flood. And continuing to pursue that, I also have the video documentation of it, as Madam President's well aware I like to do. But I intend to get some money back for that damage, and I believe that individualism in the common good shall succeed here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Waters.
That's it.
Thank you. Madam Secretary, is there any communication this evening?
No, there's not.
Thank you. We'll begin with the first order of business for Municipal Council in regards to Resolution 17-155, which is the opposition to the PA Senate Bill 6 of 2017.
Madam President, Council requested that staff draft a resolution for Council consideration. Basically, Senate Bill 6 actually is a bill to address issues related to unnecessary hardships caused by the SNAP program modifications that are being proposed. The Senate bill seeks to impose a $100 fee on families that need a replacement EBT card once, more than once in a lifetime. But obviously we all know that EBT cards are how a lot of people get their supplemental nutrition SNAP assistance. The bill passed the Senate and is currently on its way through the House of Representatives and appears to have support from the legislature. If approved, the bill would go on to Governor Wolf for his consideration and signature. And so because of this $100 penalty, council is opposed to it and has indicated to us that you were opposed to it because that penalty would actually place a hardship on individuals who work at low wages. And so this resolution is a resolution of opposing that bill as you requested, and once approved by council, we would actually then submit it to the legislature and to Governor Wolf on behalf of council for the record.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Any questions or discussion? Councilman Jones?
All right, so I'm in strong opposition to that bill. As you mentioned, if you lose your debit card, it won't cost you $100. So if somebody who's disadvantaged or without happens to lose their card, or if it gets stolen or if it gets lost, I think it's unfair to charge someone $100 just to get the card that they access food with. So that's where my opposition lies.
Any other questions or discussion? Seeing none, would a member of council like to make a motion to publicly declare the Pennsylvania Senate Bill 6 of 2017, which results in an unnecessary hardship on Norristown, Pennsylvania residents who are most in need of assistance? Madam Secretary, may I please have roll call?
Olivia Brady, Valerie Scott Cooper, Hakeem Jones, Heather Lewis, Derek Perry, Sonia Sanders.
Aye. Resolution 17-155 is approved and passed. Next order of business we have is the municipal administrator in regards to the authorization to draft and advertise ordinance to acquire 340 Harding Boulevard.
Thank you, Madam President. Council, as you know, several months back, this council was approached by the executive board of PAL with a proposal that because of the direction in which municipality is going with recreation programs and the council's desire to enhance recreation programming in the city, and as a part of council's capital improvement plan, there was a goal to provide for recreation services with the facility. The PAL board approached council with the idea of the council taking ownership of the PAL facility and property to further that goal. Their desire, as they spoke, was to see that recreation services be expanded in the municipality, and that because of the declining availability of grant funding to support the operation of the PAL, they thought that this would be a better use of the building rather than the trajectory in which they were heading. So we have done the necessary due diligence related to that. Their desire was that Norristown would assume the outstanding debt on the property, and that the acquisition would cover that, legal and some administrative costs related to the transaction should council approve to do so. And so what we're asking at this point, I will say also that we have done our due diligence in terms of having a phase 1 assessment of the building done. We've had a hazard assessment of the building done. We have a structural assessment of the building done. And all of those things came back with no major incidents. We do know that there will be in the future some roof work that will need to be done on the 2 roofs that the PAL building has. But we are able to accommodate that. That would be work that they would not be able to accommodate given their financial situation. So at this point, after having that due diligence done, we're requesting that council authorize the municipal solicitor to draft and advertise an ordinance pursuant to section 41.4-40112 of the Home Rule Charter to acquire 340 Harding Boulevard for the purchase price not to exceed $225,000, plus the payment of the seller's legal and administrative costs related to the transfer, and that for council to take all necessary action to acquire the property.
Any questions or discussions? Councilman Jones.
All right. So the whole idea of the project to me was a little questionable for me personally. It is a great acquisition, in my opinion, to take the PAL Center. But what I don't want, and what I hope what we don't do as a municipality, is I don't want this to be a quick fix for the fact that we need a recreation center in Norristown. The PAL has sizable land in the municipality. We do plan to expand on it. However, when I think of a recreation center, I see much more than what the structure of the PAL Center can offer. So as a council person, I don't want this to represent the quick fix for a recreation center and looking at neighboring townships and what they're delivered when it comes to those services. So the PAL board made it clear that that's what direction they wanted to take. However, I hope we make the right steps to make this place what it should be and what the people in Norristown deserve.
If I might respond, I think.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Councilwoman Scott Cooper.
Thank you, Madam President. I agree with Hakeem or Councilman Jones. I actually do not look at it as a quick fix. I look at it as an initial step, something that we can use as a platform to grow and expound upon. And it is well overdue for Norristown to have a recreation facility. It may not be brand new and fancy and state-of-the-art. However, we can translate this entire building into something that's going to be very suitable for the Norristown residents as well as any other folks who plan to come to the Norristown area. So again, to me, it's the first step. I think it's a great first step.
Councilman Perry.
Yes, to agree with Councilman Scott Cooper there, this is not an overnight process where we can just take $10 million or $15 million like Montgomeryville and Upper Marion and just build something like that. We have a chance over the next 4 years while we're all in office to do some great things here. And this was one part of some of the things that we all wanted as a council, is to make sure that we own something of this magnitude and for our children. And it's a great step, and we appreciate the PAL to even come to us, because this could have went in somebody else's hands. So it's definitely an opportunity that we needed to take, and we'll keep moving forward with this. But I don't think that we're going to just sit still with this and make sure that we have just that building. I think we'll take the necessary steps over the next couple of years to do what we need to do to make sure that we have a Plymouth Rec Center or Upper Marion Township Center and a Montgomeryville Center.
Thank you, Councilman Perry. In addition, I would like to add that I see that it is only right for the Norristown Recreation Center to actually have a home, opposed to renting out churches and schools where we're actually impeding other organizations. So this would be the first time that Norristown Rec would actually have a physical location of their own, again, without taking money from the budget, again, to rent out other places. Yes, this is a first step to many great things. In regards to this being a Band-Aid, I don't see it as being a Band-Aid. What I do see is a great opportunity for the youth of Norristown and for us to finally, as a municipality, to actually own a building, hold a building, and to prepare our youth for a positive future. So, Mr. Jones, you may have the mic.
Thank you, Madam President. I did want to, as council well knows, this fits definitely within your strategic priorities and the plans you have. One of the things that this acquisition will do, as you know, because we actually own the property on both sides of the Powell building, and we have actually not been able to make full use of that undeveloped side of the property because it didn't make sense to try to squeeze something in at that point. But as council looks forward to its strategic plan for recreation, you actually have a much larger footprint on which to develop a vision that will be suitable for council.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Seeing no further questions or comments, would a member of council like to make a motion to authorize the municipal solicitor to draft and advertise an ordinance pursuant to Section 41.4-401, 12 of the Norristown Home Rule Charter to acquire 340 Harding Boulevard of Norristown, Pennsylvania for a purchase price not to exceed $225,000 plus the payment of the seller's legal costs associated with the transfer, and for council to take all actions necessary to acquire the property. Madam Secretary, may I please have roll call?
Olivia Brady, Valerie Scott Cooper, Hakeem Jones, Heather Lewis, Derek Perry, Sonia Sanders.
Aye. Resolution is approved. Next order of business we have is public safety. Chief Talbot.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm requesting that council consider a motion to approve resolution number 17156 regarding the designation of 4 disabled parking spaces. The locations are 1216 West Washington Street, 218 East Jacoby, 211 East Penn, 639 East Moore Street. The residents at each location have each demonstrated that they have a physical limitation, making this accommodation necessary.
Thank you, Chief Talbot. Any questions?
(1216) West Washington, 218 East Jacoby, 211 East Penn, and 639 East Moore.
Would a member of council like to make a motion to approve resolution number 17-156 regarding requests for disabled parking spaces? Madam Secretary, may I please have roll call?
Olivia Brady, Valerie Scott Cooper, Hakeem Jones, Heather Lewis, Derek Perry, Sonia Sanders.
Aye. Resolution 17-156 is approved. Next order of business we have is code enforcement. Mr. Simonson.
Thank you, Madam President.
You're welcome.
HARB Certificate of Appropriateness for September of 2017. This is a motion to approve or disapprove the Certificate of Appropriatenesses for the properties that applied for and reviewed by the Historical Architectural Review Board. 342 West Marshall Street was to remove front windows and replace the front windows with a larger window. 223 East Oak Street was to install a new stucco finish. 526 Noble Street to install a new front porch and replace door trim as needed. 724 George Street was to install a new door and new vinyl windows. 1036 West Airy Street to install new vinyl siding on the rear of the building. 217 East Elm Street to repair existing wood soffit. 639 Chain Street, application received to replace all front and side windows. 800 West Main Street, application received to remove wood porch and replace it with concrete. 932 West Main Street was an application received to remove and replace slate shingles as necessary.
Thank you, Mr. Simonson. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, would a member of council like to make a motion to approve the HARB properties that were reviewed? All in favor? Any nays? Hearing none, the ayes have it. That motion is approved. Before we conclude this evening's meeting, I would like to acknowledge former Chief of Police Willie Jean Rochette. Would a member of council like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting? All in favor? The ayes have it. Motion is approved. Meeting is adjourned. Did someone grab Mr. Perry?